a book, let's say, they could look at the elements in nature and know what's coming, the same way we look at the screen and can sometimes know what's coming in a movie. And they began to send people out throughout the world looking for wild places where there was still little difference between man and beast, places where people could be helped genetically, brought along through intermingling and through education to develop into a strong receptacle for the ancient knowledge. You see, can you imagine? You have literally millions of years of accumulated history and accumulated knowledge, not only coming from Atlantis, from Lemuria, from Mu and Og before this, which were much older than Atlantis, and coming from whatever worlds the original 7 root races came from, right? So this is very important knowledge to save, and as the indigenous cultures teach us, there have been many worlds already. If you believe the Maya, or if you believe the Mexica, we're in the 4th or the 5th world as it is. The other worlds have been destroyed, and we've gone through this great shock and worldwide amnesia. And we've left these stories back to myth. We refuse to believe them as history. It would be too shocking for our system. So the Olmec, when they were known maybe as Atlanteans, sent different scouting parties out to all different continents and began cultivating the people and preparing them for the day that the islands of Atlantis would be no more, and they would finally come and settle among these people. The place they were said to have chosen in ancient Mexico is a place today known as Palenque. They said using sacred geometry, this was the actual center of the Americas. And this is where they decided to lay their foundation, what the Popol Vuh calls the first 3 stones of creation. The first 3 main temples, which emulate the 2 bottom stars in Orion and the first star in the belt. Today, they lay underneath the temples that are in Olmeka, known as the Temple of the Sun, the Temple of the Cross, and the Temple of the Foliated Cross. The Temple of the Foliated Cross representing the first star in the belt of Orion, the place of resurrection, the place of coming back, of transmutation of material and spirit, projecting yourself back into this 3-dimensional stage. But in a conscious way, to be able to be more intentful in what you're doing. As the Tibetans teach us, karma is caused through intent, and not so much through a wrong action, so it had no intent behind it. If you have a very strong intent when you're doing a wrong action, you're going to have a very strong karmic reaction to it. And the same, since we're in a dualistic world, the same applies vice versa. If you have a very strong intent in a positive action, you have a very strong karmic response. So if you can come back to this world, project yourself back into this physical matter, but awake in a conscious way, then your intent can be very, very strong, and you can really help out a lot. And we've had these avatars throughout history, Yeshua ben Yosef out in the Promised Land, and we've had Muhammad, and we've had the Buddhas, and we've had Guru Rinpoche, and we've had Quetzalcoatl. And Viracocha, the great ones in the north, the crazy horse, the sitting bone. History tells us all about them, Rama and Krishna. So they have come awake to teach us, but we end up ignoring them or usually killing them. So this knowledge, the sacred knowledge, is very, very dangerous to societies, because it wakes people up out of their hypnosis and no longer gives them a reason to be zombies. And if no one's paying their taxes, and there are no armies, there are no weapons. So the Olmeka were very careful with this knowledge and how they sought out to teach it in the Americas. It's a very successful venture they had. From there, great cultures were born. The Mayan culture later gave us the concept of zero, which without we wouldn't have this little computer we're playing with right now, and most of the things that we're so used to today. The Mayans would count about 10 fingers, 10 toes, while the rest of the world was just doing 10 fingers, so that led them to 20s and 40s and 60s, and there's Mayan dates in some of the stelae that the Mayans say they're so far into the past they come back to you in the future. You know? So the Olmecs were different races who banded together for a common good, and because of them we still have access to very ancient knowledge. Today I see this happening again in Mexico and India and other places. All different people from all different cultures coming together for the common good. There's few of them, much less than there are of the blind, materialistic, zombie-like people, but there are still some of them. So the Olmec, as they came, seem to have disappeared. Most likely there was only a certain number of them, and they blended back into the society. We see remnants of them in art such as the ball court and El Tajín in Papantla, Veracruz. On the tombstone of Lord Bacala from Palenque, just behind him where you see him on the great tree, there's a profile of an Olmec head there. We see their art depicted in different places like in Oaxaca and Puebla. We see drawings of them made in the cave of Loltun in Yucatan. So we know that they were never forgotten. However, in the archaeological record, they do seem to just kind of vanish, just the same way they came and went. But they left us with a very a good set of wisdom to live by. It's not easy, and it's much easier buying a little book that is 5 things you should do, and that's about it, and then you feel that you've done your part, and no. But any path worth walking is worth walking with a good heart, and any path worth walking with a good heart is worth doing 100%. The Carlos Castaneda books, I remember one time Don Juan Matus tells Carlos more or less, you would have been better off not starting this path, but now since you have started it, you have no choice but to walk it to its full length, and in there you can stand gazing breathlessly. It's more or less something like this he said to him, and I'm in agreement. For most modern folk, it's best for you not to start this path, because you're not going to like what you see. But for those of you that have taken the call to adventure, you can't go back through the door that was behind you, because there's no door left. See, it's only forward. So, my young brothers and sisters and my old brothers and sisters out there, if you've already stepped on this path, have courage and have patience. And I'll share with you the first thing that the Hopi shared with me. I was told to never rush and observe. 2 most important things that I learned from them. I learned my first time with them. And most everything else that I've been taught by them since then has been based on these 2 truths. So don't rush, don't hurry, and always observe. So let's give thanks that the Olmec people were brave enough to make it through their cataclysms and to share their wisdom with us. And let us be worthy of inheriting such a great wisdom. Keep your heart clean. Keep your eyes clean. Keep your words clean.